top 5 languages in the United States that are reading the Bible, what are those languages?
Well, the fastest growing Bible reading language in America is Spanish. That probably doesn't surprise anybody. So if you look at Bible sales or digital Bible acquisitions, the American Bible Society helps to provide certain biblical translations to YouVersion. And we're able to track how many of those versions have been downloaded. And what we notice is that our English language translations have a certain trajectory of downloads. And as market penetration for YouVersion goes up, of course, that trend line is going up. But what's going up way faster than the trend line is the RVR 60, which is the most popular Spanish translation of the Bible in the world. And so that is probably the main thing that we're noticing. But of course, we're also trying to work with people who have maybe been displaced, who have just come to the United States. We notice that people immigrate to the United States for a variety of reasons. Typically, they immigrate for opportunity, or they immigrate to the United States to escape some form of danger or persecution. And when they arrive here, they often come with very little or nothing. But no matter their religious background, there is an openness among immigrant populations to, well, what do you believe here? Now, they may not have a clear understanding of the religious background of the United States. Another friend of mine used to live in Beirut, Lebanon, and he found himself in a conversation with a Muslim person there from Beirut, and so he was asking that person, what do you know about the Christian faith? It was sparked by the Lebanese person asking him, well, do you even know the holy cities of Islam? And he said, sure, it's Mecca, Medina, and Jerusalem. And the guy was kind of surprised that an American would know the answer to that question. And so he turned it around and he said, what about you? What do you think are the holy cities of Christianity? And the guy, without hesitation, said, well, it depends on if you're Catholic or Protestant. He said, if you're Catholic, it's Rome. And if you're Protestant, it's Hollywood.
Oh, I was going to say Colorado Springs,
Wheaton, Illinois. Those would have been,
Rapids.
But this was not like
Orlando.
An evangelical insider, right? And so it was really interesting. So people who come to the United States may have a somewhat distorted view of what Christianity is. If they think being a Christian is like what they see from the movies coming out of the entertainment industry, they might have some real misgivings about Christianity, but they also might have an openness to an authentic biblical message of what it is to be a follower of Jesus Christ. And so we know that disruptions, positive and negative disruptions, create opportunities for the gospel in people's lives. So you can think of the negative disruptions, right? Pandemic and grief and loss and stress and all of those kinds of things. But positive disruptions do the same thing. When we track data out of YouVersion about the Bible reading plans that people in the movable middle and among the Bible disengaged, if they adopt a Bible reading plan and we say, well, what are they reading? They're reading about addictions. They're reading about anger management. They're reading about what does the Bible have to say about, on the positive side, relationships. I'm in a new relationship and I want to know, does the Bible have wisdom for me? I was in an Uber with an Uber driver in Colorado Springs, and he was confiding in me that he's a parent and he's kind of a, Grizzly Adams mountain man kind of a guy. And he said, I'm trying to figure out how to teach my kids to be moral, to be good citizens. And I said, that's interesting. How do you do that? And he said, well, I read them Grimm's fairy tales at night. And you may remember Grimm's fairy tales. Those are the things that terrified you and made you think there were monsters under your bed or in your closet.
They're graphic.
They're frightening,
Yeah.
And so I just went out on a limb and I said, yeah, that's an interesting approach. I'm thinking if you want to, if you want to keep your medieval German children from wandering off into the woods and being eaten by a wolf or a bear. But what I said was
Stranger Things.
So what I asked him was, have you ever wondered if the Bible might have something to help you be a better parent or your kids be better people? And, he looked at me in the rearview mirror and I could see just open astonishment. And he went, I've never thought about that before. And this is a thing that we're noticing even in the population data. There's a curiosity about what the Bible says and about who Jesus is. And I think sometimes in America, we've wrapped the message of the Bible or the story of Jesus so much in our own cultural accoutrements that
Mhm.
people can't see Jesus for seeing us. You know, maybe we're a particular kind of person politically, or we're a particular kind of person, rural or urban, or we're this or we're that, whatever categories you want. And we've sort of cloaked the message of the gospel in our own culture. And so people who feel distant from us culturally consequently feel distant from us spiritually, when really the invitation of Christ is transcultural. It reaches people in every culture, and it offers an invitation to people to come close to Jesus. Now, it also confronts every culture. It also says, hey, the things you think are normal might not be God's best for you. And so there's both invitation and critique, I think, to people from every part of the world, including the United States.